And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our weekly Penn State Wrestling Media Zoom. We've got head coach Cael Sanderson with us, as well as junior 197-pounder Max Dean. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Cael, so get your hands raised, and we'll start with some questions. Mike Finn, get us started.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Cael.
Hey.
Cael, actually, this is a story I'm working on looking at this year's, I guess, senior class and what they've gone through, primarily those who came back for another year. I was hoping you could use a word or phrase to describe this group of wrestlers, what they've gone through. Is it any different than any other years that guys have wrestled?
I'm not really good at words or phrases, Mike, but I think, yeah, for sure, it's been tough on everybody, the whole country, right, and the whole world. So just staying focused and dealing with a whole host of additional challenges. And it's even just the whole way the NCAA kind of handled the whole situation, I think has to be a challenge for these kids, right? I mean, some kids didn't get a chance to wrestle or compete in for NCAA title or championships. And then on the flip side, they're given, some kids 5 opportunities, which I think that's got to kind of be strange for them too, because even if it's not something their heart's in, it's just that argument where, it's like, well, how can I not do it? Because I'll regret it later in my life, kind of a thing. So I just feel like the NCAA really put these kids in a weird situation. And so they're resilient and they're tough. And I'm talking about wrestlers in general, athletes in general. So I think they'll figure it out and come out just fine.
Could you talk a little bit about Nick Lee, since he would have been one of these guys, and how he fit in that in his particular case?
Yeah, well, I think Nick, he was one of those guys that, we were trying really hard to get a waiver for him and some of our other kids who could have taken an Olympic red shirt or, just a red shirt and had both of those options and chose instead to wrestle for their team in the NCAA. And we took it as far as you could before you had to just go get, a lawyer and go to war. And we decided not to at that point. And they, obviously it was denied. So I think a guy like Nick, this year will be his 4th actual opportunity to wrestle in an NCAA tournament. But yeah, like you said, Mike, I think going through the last couple of years and the uncertainty and, 2 years ago when they wrestled the whole year, and then we're getting ready to go to Minneapolis, and, we're sitting there at practice and the word was leaking and our kids knew it's probably going to get canceled. That was a tough deal. And then going into last year, most of the kids thought that it was again going to get canceled. So they, it was tough to really get excited and motivated. And then obviously they ended up having the championship, which was great. So yeah, I just think a lot of uncertainty more than anything. And then, the protocols that they have with COVID is a daily thing. And as student athletes, I mean, they're watched like hawks. I mean, I get emails all the time, not all the time, but less and less, I guess. But just, this kid wasn't wearing his mask in the hallway between practice and the locker room and stuff like that. It just gets, it's a lot, it's a lot for them. And I think everyone's in the same boat. So we just keep plugging away.
Thank you,
Carlson, go ahead.
Hey, Cael, you mentioned Friday night you didn't think the team had wrestled all that well. Just wondering if you could explain some of your rationale behind that. And also if any changes this week as far as training in terms, just to be fresh, make sure you're fresh for Ohio State and Nebraska.
Yeah, I think these weeks are tricky just in that you got to turn around or you get to, I think. I mean, that's kind of the important thing, is just being excited for the opportunity to have big matches like this. This would be our, we've wrestled several weekends in a row, and Ohio State on Friday in the Jordan Center, and back in Rec Hall on Sunday with Nebraska, with two top 10 teams, 2 really great programs and coaching staffs that we got to be ready for. But I think, that's just part of the process. It's the same every year, and just making sure we're excited to compete. And I don't think we didn't, wrestle poorly. I think it's just a tough environment, and our team did what they needed to win and move on, I guess. But we just know we have different levels, and we expect to continue to get better as the season goes on.
Ben Surface.
Hey, Cael, obviously you guys got the BJC duel this week. Do you have any particular memories from your first BJC duel against Pitt when you guys set the NCAA attendance record in 2013? And what does that say about the fans?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, I think just overall it was just a cool event, and you know, we really appreciated the fans showing up, and I thought it was kind of special just to do it with Pitt, you know, in-state rival there. That was kind of neat. But yeah, it's just kind of been something that we look forward to every year. I think each year it becomes and feels more like a, you know, a home environment, and you know, something we should probably think about as a program is just having more matches over there, just because it gives new opportunities for fans to see the team, and you know, we want to continue to kind of build our fan base, and it's hard to do that if people can't get in to watch your matches, you know. So but yeah, we look at it as just making sure we have a big match over there, and just let as many people as they can fit in there, you know, to come watch a match, and hopefully from there you can kind of hook them and make them wrestling fans and Penn State wrestling fans.
Travis Johnson.
Hey, Cael, I wanted to get back to something you said about different levels this team can get to. Is one of those pushing for more bonus points? And I guess, how can you maximize that part of these guys' abilities? Is it just pushing more for that, or is it getting certain guys in positions where they're better, or how do you do that at this stage of the season?
I just think it's you know, it's the same mentality. It's just be the best you can be, you know, just enjoy competing, because sometimes a 1-point win is a great effort, right? And sometimes a 1-point loss can be a great effort. So, you know, it's not really it's kind of an individual thing, and it's just more about the individuals kind of just focusing more on being the best they can be, as opposed to and then the bonus points and those kind of things should come, right? Less focus on just winning and losing, and just more about, you know, what's the effort, and you know, what can we use every second to do, that kind of thing. So you know, I think that's a tough question, because obviously every coach and every program would be saying the same thing. Hey, let's just get more bonus points out there. But you know, it's hard to do that when you're wrestling tough kids all the time. Especially, I think we get you know, we usually get our, you know, our opponent's best effort. You know, I mean, and that's a compliment, I think. But you just gotta, you know, and I think a lot of those it's the little things. You know, it's finishing a period on top, and just, you know, where you can pick up a point here and a point there, and just continue to make progress, I think, is what's important for us. But just making sure that our kids are enjoying what they're doing, and usually that would be competing freely, less focused on the outcome and more on just the way they compete.
Andy Elder.
Hey, Cael.
Hey.
Bo Bartlett at times has seemed a bit hesitant on his feet to shoot. Is that a product of his opponent's defense, or does he need to do something different to get his offense jump started?
I think Bo has shown he's right there with the best. It's just yeah, just got to pull the trigger. You know, he's got great shots. He's strong. He can scramble. But yeah, I think he certainly has the ability to do really well, and part of that would be just go get that takedown, and we know he can. He knows he can. He just and so we're confident that he will, as we push along here.
Tanyon Loose.
Yeah, Cael, 197 and heavyweight have kind of seemed like they're both weight classes this season where all the top guys are kind of beating each other up a little bit outside of maybe the two top seeds. And obviously you and I would both have guys that are ranked right in the thick of things there. So can you speak on just the importance of those two weight classes come like tournament season?
Yeah, I think it's yeah, they're great weight classes. I think up and down, you know, all the weight classes are competitive. We just have two really good guys, you know, even you know, representing us right now in those weights, and you know, both with potential and capabilities of scoring a lot of points, and yeah, I think, you know, they just got to keep doing what they're doing, and every weight's competitive, so I don't think there's any kind of uncertainty there as far as the way that goes. So I'm not really sure if that answers your question, but you know, we like our guys, and we're confident in both of them that they can do we'll do really well, and we'll just get better here as we head towards March.
Greg Pickle.
Cael, have you made a decision at 57 in terms of that being Baracal's job, or are you still working your way through that? And what positives could you take away from his match on Friday night?
Yeah, I think Terrell is close, and we've seen with Tony that he's also close. It's just kind of getting over that you know, that the edge there, or the hill, or whatever you want to get over, I guess. But yeah, I would say we're not really set there yet. You know, we're still kind of waiting to see or for somebody to kind of claim that spot a little bit. But yeah, I think Terrell did a nice job against a tough kid, and you know, Tony's done a nice job against some tough kids. But we think and believe they're both, you know, capable of winning at that highest level. It's just a matter of doing it at this point.
Zach Allen.
Yeah. Hey, Cael, kind of going off Greg's question. There have been rumors of Luke Gardner coming back to the team at 157. Can you speak on that right now? Is that true? Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing with that idea. You know, it's not really something I could give you, you know, a concrete answer as to, you know, what he's thinking, or, you know, what that looks like. But yeah, that's something that is definitely a possibility.
Clay Sourtig.
Hey, Cael, how you doing?
Hello.
You look at Greg Kirkfleet, picked up the first takedown against Cassiope, looked really comfortable until he got into the upper body situation. Obviously, lateral drop, and then the inside trip, I think, put himself down 4-1. Are there situations where you'd like to see him kind of work to clear the tie more, rather than forcing those upper body situations?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, Greg has world-class attacks on his feet. He's incredibly strong. Yeah, I think Cassiope just did a really nice job kind of putting him in those positions, and kind of got him to, you know, force 2 throws, and that was the difference in the match. So I don't think it's as much as I think obviously Greg will learn from that, and you know, hopefully we can make some adjustments next time we go around. But I would say that's just more so a good job on his opponent's part to kind of make him feel uncomfortable or comfortable to where he thought he could, you know, kind of hit those throws. But yeah, I think, you know, it's a good learning experience for Greg. You know, Greg will just be better because of that. And, you know, and just like every match, you know, going into a big duel, the last, you know, when every match of the year is those matches are going to come and go. And then, you know, we just need to make sure that we can, we want to compete in a way that, that we're happy with, but more importantly, just making sure we're getting better and learning from those experiences, good, whether it's good or bad, you know. So I think, you know, for Greg, he was disappointed in himself. But, you know, that's one of the top guys in the country, and he'll be better off. You know, I think he definitely learned a few things that he can put into play or next go round.
Andy Elder.
Yeah, you mentioned Greg, but there seemed to be some pretty intense 50-50 situations in all 10 bouts. Were there some specific lessons that your guys learned that you can use against Ohio State and beyond?
Yeah, I think, I mean, you got to, if you're not learning, or, you know, you're going backwards, or, you know, staying still, you're going to get passed up kind of thing. I think each individual is going to learn as we go along here. And sometimes you learn from mistakes, and sometimes you can learn from success. You know, it's really up to the kid, you know, to really, you know, just evaluate where we're at. And as a coaching staff, you know, we'll help them as much as we can. But yeah, I think we just keep not take ourselves, like, you know, too seriously, that you can't just go compete and be yourself out there. And I think, you know, that's probably the most important thing.
And last one for Cael, Nate Cobbler.
Hey, Cael, not to keep harping on 57 there, but we just saw that, you know, Joe Lee was in the mix there too with a couple of those guys. So can you kind of fill us in with Joe? Like, what's going on with him? Is he just not being able to crack the spot at the 57, or what's going on there?
Yeah, I think, you know, Joe, he was banged up earlier in the season, and then, you know, went to the scuffle, and I don't think he just didn't really go as he hoped, or and just hasn't really been just really hasn't been there, I guess, to it hasn't really been challenging at that position. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Joe, obviously, we've all seen him. He's capable of great things. Very talented wrestler. But just, at this time, it's just not there.
All right, we're going to let Cael go and bring Max in. Thanks, Cael. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Thank you.
All right, let's get Max up. All right, Max, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Oh, good. Yeah, thanks. Excited to be here.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with questions for Max. Tanyon, do you have a question for Max? All right, go ahead.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Max, I think 197 is one of the few weight classes where a lot of the guys in the top 10 have like 2-3 losses, or yourself where you only have one. Can you just speak on the competitiveness of the weight class and kind of what kind of, is that bringing you some excitement, kind of looking forward, knowing how talented the weight class is and how many guys you have to wrestle?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's a challenge, but it's something that pushes you to raise your level. So, it's been tough all year. It's not new. And, but definitely thinking about being in the room with, my coaches and my training and, trying to work on those few things that maybe before NCAAs can be the difference, because it is really competitive. There's a lot of good guys.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Jim Carlson.
Hey, Max, you've had a pretty successful January, probably a pretty grueling month for you too. Can you just explain what life's been like for you, in the middle of the Big Ten schedule? I saw your brother commented about loving the Big Ten. Are you enjoying it as well?
Yeah, it's been great. There's a lot of big duels, no pun intended, but it's been a lot of fun to get and go and compete. And I didn't have all those opportunities last year, so it feels really good to be back in college wrestling and doing it with Penn State. And it's certainly busy. We're on the road a lot. But just taking care of school when you can and training when you can, and then getting ready for these matches. It's been a lot of fun.
Nate Cobbler.
Hey, Max, a little bit of two-part question here. One is, the wrestling news was about AJ Ferrari, having the car accident he had there. Unfortunate, but how does maybe a guy like that not being around maybe not add to the depth, I guess you could say, of your weight class? And then could you just put a little bit of a comparison between wrestling a Big Ten schedule as opposed to like the Ivy League when you were with Cornell?
Yeah, well, first part, AJ, I don't really know all the details of that story. I've kind of overheard it here and there. I don't have social media. I don't really read the news. So, hopefully he's fine. Wouldn't wish anything bad for him or anybody, and just hopefully he makes a full recovery and he's totally good. It's in terms of, the Big Ten schedule. Obviously the Big Ten is the toughest wrestling conference. Hopefully that's not too controversial to say. I think that's pretty unanimously agreed upon. So, it's a little different and getting ready to go every weekend. And obviously I dropped a match last weekend, which, it stinks to lose. And there's things that I want to do a lot better. But I do also think that, being in this conference is definitely the challenge, is motivating. So, and those tough matches are opportunities to work on things. There's not really better practice than being in a live setting, where it's real and it matters. So I'm just trying to use those opportunities to keep working on my craft and, get ready to go by March.
Thank you.
Andy Elder.
In another two-parter for you, Max. One, I was wondering what your impressions of Carver Hawkeye are and those fans. And two, you've had a couple of pretty good comebacks in the last couple of weeks. I'm wondering, what is it about you that enables you to be able to rally from deficits and pull out wins like you have?
Well, so Iowa, their arena and their fan bases, they're into it, is one way to put it, which, it was fun. I enjoyed the experience. I don't hear the specifics of what they're saying. I heard some maybe stories later in the night from my family was there, and, maybe some people get a little too rowdy or a little too fired up and say something they might regret the next day. But for us, competing, it's fun. Those opportunities, especially in wrestling, are few and far between to get to wrestle in front of 15,000 people. So, definitely enjoyed that. Then, so what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry, I got lost in my train of thought a little bit.
And what do you think gives you the ability to rally from an early deficit and pull out a win?
Well, just staying, calm and composed and knowing who you are, even when you're, in a situation that's tough. On top of that, I think I'm well conditioned, but that's a credit to our coaches and my training partners. And, there's just guys in the room that push me really hard, and, we go longer than 7 minutes. So, if you can't, you got to be able to go a whole 7 minutes. But, I'm just kind of part of, like I said, knowing who I am. I'm never going to quit in a match. And, if I can go score some points and win, even if I'm down, that's what I'm going to try to do.
Zach Allen.
Hey, Max. At the end of your match against Iowa, you pulled off that sick bow and arrow move to get Warner on his back. Do you go into a match planning to do that? I know you were up 1 when it happened. What went through your head before you pulled that off?
Well, so to be completely honest, I actually didn't know I was winning when I hit that move. So I think they called stalling right when I shot. So there's kind of chaos going on. I thought it was 3-3. But you're always trying to score points. I like to think that I would have gone for it either way. And yeah, if you can get a bow and arrow or really any kind of turn in a big match, that's probably going to be the deal breaker for you and win it for you. So obviously always looking to score and stuff, but I couldn't say that before a match. I'm specifically like, oh, I'm going to hit this move for sure, that move for sure. It's just wrestling through every position and keep trying to score and put them through combinations, and whatever's there, go take it.
Tanyon.
Yeah, Max, I'm just curious, kind of like what is behind the decision to have no social media, or is that just kind of something you've done for a while now, or is that like more a recent decision?
No, I actually, a little bit over a year ago, I decided to get rid of all my social media. I don't know, I just felt like it was dominating too much of my time. I was a little too caught up in it, and I didn't like the way that, maybe you look at it for 10 minutes, but then you spend the next hour or 2 hours thinking about what you were looking at for 10 minutes. And I felt like it was controlling too much of my train of thought. Maybe that's just kind of a side of the weaknesses I have as a person. But yeah, for me, I felt like I was too caught up in it, didn't want to do it anymore, and just wanted to focus on, the people I was around and wrestling and, I guess the other things that I enjoy.
Ben Surface.
Max, you mentioned, you don't get too many opportunities to wrestle in front of 15, 16,000 people. How excited are you to be able to do that this Friday at the Bryce Jordan Center in front of 15, 16,000 of your own fans?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. It's another neat opportunity. It's a lot of fun. I love Penn State. I love Penn State fans. And I know they're going to show up for us, and, we're going to try to show up for them. So yeah, it's a great opportunity. Really looking forward to it.
And last one for Max, Jim Carlson.
Max, coaches, everybody talk about finishing, for the neutral position and all, but yet, you watch Strachey and Kemmer, and you watch Amin and Brooks and all, and just some incredible counters. What do you do in the room to refine your finishing skills, but at the same time, be aware of your opponent's ability to not let you do that?
Well, so speaking of Carter and Aaron, those guys, if you wrestle them, takedowns are hard to come by. They're studs. They wrestle 2 great opponents too in those matches that you mentioned. But they're just hard guys to score on, which, they're number one, they're national champs for a reason. In terms of me, there's drills and specific things that we work on to go finish shots. That's been a big focus for me lately, is making sure that I'm converting when I get to the leg. But I think, it's just putting yourself there over and over and over again. So when you're wrestling some of these guys, and where you're lucky to have really good RTCs, so I get to wrestle, David Taylor and Kyle Snyder and Jason Nolf and Zane, there's just a list. I'm going to leave really good people off that list that have helped me a ton, just because there's so many to mention. But just making yourself shoot over and over and over again. And, maybe you only finish one of those takedowns in a match, or, maybe you don't get any, or maybe you get a couple, but, just pushing yourself back in that position and trying to get some points.
All right, well, we got to let Max get going. Max, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, thanks.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
All right, everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Pat,
Thank you.
I'm wondering Friday night,